Hi guys, welcome to my channel. For those of you who are new, hello, my name is Jess. Welcome to my corner of BookTube, and I'm really excited because we are going to look at my June TBR list. I'm sure y'all have heard of Whatever-thon. It's hosted by Maddie over at Book Browsing Blog. She just announced it, I think, this past month, well, May technically, but it has officially launched June 1st. It is for the entire month, and basically you set a goal of what you want to read, and then she gives you prompts and bonus points and stuff like that. And I think towards the end of the month, the team that you decided to be on, which I am Camp Contemporary, hopefully we win, but at the end of the month I think she'll announce which team has won, and so I thought it'd be really fun to participate. So I have 10 books for you guys. By the way, Callie is underneath the tripod, so if it moves it's because of her. But I have 10 books for you guys, and they're kind of all over the spectrum of contemporary. I wanted to do fantasy this time around, but because I'm doing this, I want to make sure that I get as many points as possible. So let's get into it. Okay guys, I clearly moved a little more to this way, but that's because we're gonna have the prompts for whateverthon right here. Now there are technically 15 prompts, but I only got 10 books, and that's basically because I have only 10 prompts that I want to really read from. And some of them, like the buddy read, and I think there's another one. Oh yeah, like fit a TBR game prompt. I'm not gonna do those. I just didn't find those fascinating, but there are 10 that I did. Now, there are some scoring things that are happening. So you get 100 points if it's LGBTQ, and 25 points if it's a host fave, 25 points if it's a teen genre. Now, I don't know if any of my books have LGBTQ, except for maybe Had Me At Ola. There is a person, I forget her name, but she had they them pronouns, so I think that might count. Or if the author is LGBTQ+, that also counts. I'm not too sure. I'm gonna actually have to look that stuff up. I definitely have one book from a series of a host fave, and then also team genre, Camp Contemporary. These are all contemporary, so I'm definitely getting those bonus points. But without further ado, let's get into the books. Let's figure out which prompt goes to what book. The first book that I have already started reading is You Had Me At Ola by Alexis Daria. I don't know why I'm holding it like this, you guys, but this is going to cover the POC representation on the prompt board. Now, I've already started this. This is 30% of the way in. I literally had to stop myself last night because I have an adulting job and I can't just stay up till 3 in the morning reading this. But I can already tell you this is going to be a 4 or 5 star read for me. We have two main characters, Ashton and Jasmine. Now Jasmine just had a very bad public breakup with a super rock star named McIntyre, and she finds her way in New York as a leading lady in a new bilingual telenovela series called Carmen in Charge, and everything's going fine and dandy until she meets this man. Now this man, Ashton, is a super telenovela hunk. He's super popular, but he wants to make it into American television instead of just telenovelas. And he gets casted as the leading man, and basically they are ex-husband and wife with just serious romance in their bodies still, in their souls to one another. Now, of course, this romance on screen is going to get off screen. I haven't made it that far yet, you guys, in the book, so I'm not too sure how the romance is gonna go, but I think it's gonna get steamy, you guys, and I'm super excited about that. The next book that I have for you guys is The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This is going to cover the prompt cover features team color. Camp Contemporary is blue, guys, and this is blue, so this is definitely going to cover that prompt. Now in this book we follow two main characters. We follow Lucy and Joshua. Now they hate each other. They don't just dislike each other, they don't just tolerate one another. They absolutely hate each other, and the best part, they are co-workers. They are both executive assistants to two CEOs who are co-hosting a company together, and basically they're up for promotion for the same exact job, and they start battling it out, and it gets kind of nasty, I think, to the point where Lucy almost ends up losing her dream job. However, she does kind of find out that maybe Joshua is not as bad as a person as she thought he was. And you guys, this is definitely going to be an enemies to lovers trope. I can already feel it in my bones. And this book is so cute, you guys. It is very petite. It's very just, I don't know, it just gives me good loving vibes, even though the characters just look like jackasses, to be honest with you, but I'm here for it. I'm still stuck in enemies to lovers and just romance in general for the past month and a half, Don't ask me why. I guess I'm just, love is in the spirit with me getting married soon, but cannot wait to read this. All right, guys. So for the prompt, out of your comfort zone, I definitely have the book. Now it is fantasy, but it also said contemporary on Goodreads, so I'm gonna go with that. And that is Beast of Extraordinary Circumstance by Ruth Emmy Lang. Now this book follows a character named Waylon Gray, who was orphaned. He was raised by wolves, and I think he has supernatural powers. I'm not totally sure, but things tend to happen at inopportune times for him, such as a tree growing and a random tornado happening. Now, the cool thing about this book is that it's told in many people's perspectives, people who have come across him, who know him, who are friends with him. And I think that's kind of cool. Also, there seems to be a love interest or a woman who he loves in this book, someone who he saved from a wolf attacking her at some point in her life. And I'm really excited to read this. The reason why I chose this as most like out of my comfort zone is I don't really necessarily like magical realism, but the way that the story is going to be told is something that's really drawing my intrigue and my interest in this. So definitely perfect category for this. I can't wait to pick it up. Also, this book is gorgeous. It has a very calming-esque to it. There's a tree, there's stars, or I think there's stars, or maybe that's glitter. I don't really know. But either way, I'm excited to read this. The next prompt that I'm going to fulfill is read a book that reminds you of the pride flag. And you guys, I think I have the perfect book for you all. It is The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. Now, just look at the cover. It is bright, it's vivid, it has every single color of the rainbow. It's honestly very lovely. And everything that I've heard about this book, it just says it tugs at your heartstrings. It's lovely, it's cozy, it's heartwarming. And I just think it's perfect for this prompt. Now, we follow a character named Linus Baker. He is by the book caseworker in the department in charge of magical youth. Now, he is 40, he has a devious cat, and he just basically lives a quiet life. Now, he is summoned by extremely upper management and is given a highly classified assignment. Travel to an orphanage on a distant island and determine whether 6 dangerous children could bring about the end of the world or the end of days, which that sounds quite terrifying. So of course he travels to this weird island and he's kind of mystified. So he meets Arthur Parnassus, he's the master of the orphanage, and of course he meets the children. And basically he just kind of figures out that the master is willing to do anything to make sure that these children are safe, including watch the world burn. But also he doesn't want his secret to come to light. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure we're gonna find out. I'm sure we're gonna have Linus find out, and I cannot wait. Again, you guys, this cover is stunning. The next prompt that we are going to do, you guys, is author's debut novel. And I thought, why not go with Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Manansala. I don't know why I said that so low. It didn't give the impact that I thought it was going to give. But anyways, this cover is stunning, you guys. We clearly have a beautiful wiener dog and some bangin', some bussin' food, okay? So we have Lila Paca-Nagal, who moves back home with her family, and she is tasked to save her Tita Rosie's failing restaurant. She also has a group of just matchmaking aunties who both shower her with love and also judgment and just basically want her to live her best life and also probably get married. However, one day a notoriously just bad food critic, aka her ex-lover, her ex-boyfriend, has a confrontation with her, but moments after, he somehow drops dead. And so the cops are looking at her. The landlord is also giving her a hard time and wants to basically resell if he can. And so she and her aunties and her best friend and her dog named Longanisa, which I think is perfect for this dog, are going to get to the bottom of this. And I'm curious to see who killed her ex-lover, food critic guy in this book. I think this is actually going to be kind of comical, which I'm really excited. So this is next, you guys. Next up, when it comes to prompts, is the indie/self-pub prompt. And I am going to fit this with The Bookshop of Yesterdays by Amy Meyerson. Now, this book is going to be, I think, very adventurous and cute. And I think this is also going to tug at my heartstrings just a little bit. So we follow the main character named Miranda Brooks. Now, she grew up in the stacks of her Uncle Billy's bookshop called Prospero Books. She loved him, and he would always kind of leave her little notes and kind of secrets, kind of like the National Treasure in my opinion, throughout his bookstore, and she just was always on a treasure hunt. Then one day, something happened between her mom and her uncle, and she just stopped talking to him. Their family moved away, and then 16 years later we find out that her Uncle Billy has suddenly died, and he left the entire bookstore to her. Now, unfortunately, the bookstore is just not doing so well, and I think they might have to close it down unless Miranda can figure out how to save the bookstore. Now, the cool thing is that she has quickly learned that her Uncle Billy has left her some more treasure hunts, you guys, to kind of save the bookstore, but to also figure out her past and why things suddenly went south and what tore her family apart. So I'm really excited to start this. Also, you guys, look, the pages are all torn and kind of frayed looking. So to me, this honestly looks like a treasure that I would find on a hunt at a library or something like that. So this is also ready for my June TBR. The next prompt that I'm going to fulfill is the 5-star prediction prompt, and that honestly is going to The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I have seen, like, hands down, no one talked badly about this book. It is always positive reviews, and so that's why I think this is going to be a 5-star prediction. Now, in this book, there is a library between life and death, and we follow a main character named Nora Seed, who has lived a life of misery and regret. She feels like she has let everyone down in the world, including herself. And so when she stumbles upon the Midnight Library, she basically finds a chance to make things right in her life. Now, the books in the Midnight Library kind of enable her to follow different paths of how her life would have been if she'd made certain decisions. She would have met familiar faces, she would have met new faces, and so on and so forth. So she, with the help of her friend, basically wants to undo every decision she regrets and tries to have the perfect life. But of course, nothing comes without something breaking down, and it appears that the library and herself are in extreme danger because of her choices. So before time runs out, she must ask the ultimate question: what is the best way to live? Dang, guys, that was very deep, and that was only the cover of this book. So I can only imagine what this book is going to entail. I mean, clearly everyone and their mom and the entire world loves this book, so I think I'm also going to love it. Up next, you guys, is the prompt poll. Now, I had a poll on Twitter and y'all came through, okay? And the book that like literally won by a landslide was Get a Life, Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert. Now, this book, we follow Chloe Brown. She's chronically ill. She's a computer geek with a goal, a plan, and a list. However, she almost has a near-death experience, which kind of gives her this like, okay, I need to come up with like the 7 best things to basically live the life that I always wanted to live. And she has cute things like enjoy a drunken night out, ride a motorcycle, go camping, enjoyable sex, you know, just the good stuff. However, there's also do something bad. Now, even though she can write out how to be bad, she just doesn't think it's possible for her. So she enlists the help of Redford, aka Red Morgan, who is a handyman with tattoos, motorcycle, just an overall baddie, okay? And we quickly find out that there's a lot behind him than just like his outwardly appearance. So he's an artist, but yet he doesn't like to show his art. He has a very spoken mind when it comes to why he doesn't like Chloe's wealthy background, because that is the case. The first thing on her list was to move out of her wealthy parents' mansion, and so she did do that. But yeah, so she is super wealthy. He resents it and he tells her, and then there's some other things about what really lies beneath his rough exterior. So I really am going to enjoy this book, you guys, because it follows that formula where you have a naive, wealthy girl who falls for the rough gangster slash motorcyclist. I don't know why I'm getting Lana Del Rey vibes, like the Ride music video for some reason, and 50 Shades of Grey. Don't know why, but clearly this is up for the hype, okay? I'm excited to read this. I think that this is going to be a very enthralling book and a quick read for me, because this is just up my alley. All right, guys, the next prompt is the easiest in my opinion, and that is read a book that you recently hauled. Now, if we're being honest with one another, most of the books on my bookshelf have been hauled within the past couple of months because yeah, I haven't been reading that often. So this is definitely the easiest. Now, the book I chose was Dial A For Aunties by Jessica and I cannot wait to read this, you guys. This is going to be a comical experience. Just with how the summary in the back was written, I can clearly tell that this is chef's kiss going to be awesome. So we follow a girl named Madeline Chen who accidentally kills her blind date. And she calls her mom calls her aunties, and they basically help her try to dispose of the body. But they find out quickly that it's hard to do. And somehow, some way, his body gets inadvertently put in the cake tray or shipped in the cake cooler. That's what it says. Shipped in the cake cooler to the over-the-top billionaire wedding that Meddy, her ma, and her aunties are working at an island resort on the California coastline. So we're gonna see how they're gonna get the body to not appear at the wedding, and I am super interested to see how they're gonna get away with this, if they get away with it at all, to make sure cops don't get on their case. I mean, she accidentally killed the person and now they're trying to cover it up. Lord have mercy on her. I don't know, you guys, but this is gonna be an interesting read. So the next prompt that I'm going to have is title last letter, title first letter. Sorry guys, that was super weird. But basically I am doing Dial A For Aunties, so the S in Aunties with shipped by Angie Hockman as S for the first letter. Now this one is going to kind of be like the hating game with enemies to lovers. So we follow, what is her name? Henley Evans and Graham Crawford Collins. Now Henley is up for a promotion at her job, however Graham is too, and even though they have never met, they are both marketing managers. They just have like battles via email for some weird reason. I find that really funny. But their boss wants basically both of them to draft a proposal on boosting bookings in the Galapagos. Whoever wins basically gets the position. So there's one catch. They do have to go on a company cruise to the Galapagos Islands together in order to do this rough draft. And yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of twists and turns and things are just going to go awry and awry, and I'm super here for it. Again, this is enemies to lovers, so you literally cannot go wrong with this type of trope, and it's a trope that I love. It's a trope that I fall for every single time. Clearly I have multiple books with this trope. So that is the last book in the June TBR series. That is the last book that I think I'm going to read for whatever-a-thon, or at least that's planned. Now, if I do read more than 10 books, which honestly this month is going to be kind of challenging. It's the month before my wedding, so who knows? I may end up doing it. We do get more bonus points if we do read additional books, but that is the last book for this series, so super exciting. Alright guys, that concludes today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I know I did. I am very stoked, honestly, to try all of these contemporary novels. I am quickly learning that this is definitely a genre or type of book that I gravitate towards. I thought it would be fantasy, but I don't think that's the case anymore. Maybe when I was younger. But nonetheless, I'm super excited to read these. As always, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like this video if you really love it. Also, I'll have all my social medias linked down below, so feel free to follow me on those. And don't be afraid to strike up a conversation in the comments or anywhere else. But with that, I hope you are having a lovely day wherever you are. I hope you are in a very interesting book or a very enticing book right now. But with that, I'll leave you guys to it. Bye guys.